bars in a rave. Man, I go hard like Santan.
Yo, my people. It's your boy SV Carbaholic. I'm back. Yes, back again on hosting duty. Welcome back. I ain't been on in a couple of weeks. Life duty's been taken over. You've been hearing other people, the dulcet tones, but you got your favorite back on hosting duty. Yes, and we're back with another weekly edition of TG Touchline Gunners. And we're coming to you fresh off the back of a 3-0 win against Club Brugge in the Champions League, which leaves us on 6 wins out of 6 in the Champions League, sitting top. I believe we only need one more win to secure top spot in the group stage, and that would allow us to potentially play the second leg of every knockout game at home all the way onto the final if we were to get there. So we're going to get into all that good stuff, and we've got some listeners' questions as well. So we're gonna touch on all of that stuff. And with me to dissect it is Dr. Umar's apprentice himself. He's been ghost for a while. He's been neglecting his duties, but he's back as well. Khalil, how are you, sir?
Listen, someone has to spend the Patreon money somewhere, so that's what I've been doing.
Man.
I've been going back and forth, attending events. Got to take in the F1. Got to do some sand duning. Got to chill out.
We were supposed to do a nice TG Christmas dinner, but somehow the money doesn't exist anymore. So boy, listen.
So in case you haven't gathered, we need you guys to subscribe to the Patreon, £3 a month, so we can get you guys more content and more material for me to use. But yeah, man, it's been good. It's good to be back on a win actually. So got some good stuff to.
It's good to be back. Obviously, we had just our second defeat at the weekend in 22-23 games, I believe, away to Villa. I saw some of the reaction online. I thought it was maybe a bit too OTT. Obviously, it wasn't. Oh, excuse me. Beg your pardon.
God, you all right, bro?
This December time, bro. Bugs flying everywhere. Hopefully, I don't get sick, man. It's my birthday next week, but yeah, we move. What was I saying? Yes. So we were back off. Our first defeat, I believe it was since August. So, first defeat in basically 4 months, we lost to Aston Villa, which football, it can happen. I thought people went a bit OTT with some of the reactions at full time at the weekend, but that's Arsenal fans for you. I can't remember that Arsenal fans are the most emotional and reactional, and I don't even fight it or argue it anymore, bro. Anytime something doesn't go wrong, people start bringing out 6-month-old agendas that haven't been, haven't seen the light of day for time, and they come. But it is what it is. But it's part of football. You win some, you lose some, and we barely lost any. So, but night, and we did with a 3-0 victory. So, Khalil, we anticipated a lot of changes, and obviously that is I say partly, it's probably hugely enforced by the injury crisis we're going through at the moment. Loads of players out, and obviously certain players carrying injuries as well. So we saw, and I'll go through it. Obviously Rice started in goal. Miles Lewis-Skelly came in the left back. Obviously Hincapié continued. We saw Norgard at centre back. Ben White continued at right back. Zubamendi, which I didn't really want to play, he was in midfield with Marino and Erdegaard, and then we had completely changed the front line. Martinelli left, Madueke right, Gyokeres through the middle. When you first saw that, what were your thoughts? Obviously, I wanted Zubi to sit down, but I guess when you have 3 centre backs out injured, Timber, who can play there, wasn't part of the squad either, so you are very limited in the options you could make. So obviously it meant he played the full 90. So hopefully he's okay for the weekend. But most of the others, I was fine. I was obviously a bit frustrated Ethan didn't start. We've been having big discourse recently in the group about Ethan's lack of minutes and why that may be. So what were your thoughts when you saw the lineup?
Yeah, so like you, when I saw Zubamendi starting, I was definitely concerned because I think I may have been saying it in the chat, but maybe not on the pod. But I think the Zubamendi and Rice axis might hold like the keys to the success of our season, and that's due to the fact that they're obviously very good players and they do a number of very important things for us in terms of our progression and retention of the ball. And domination of the central spaces, both in and out possession. But 2, it's the fact that in comparison to our defense, we simply do not have the level of cover, quality cover in those positions. If that one of them went down, that we wouldn't be feeling, or sorry, we would be feeling the severe effects of that. I mean, we're currently seeing a situation, as you mentioned, that we've got a bunch of defensive injuries, but we're still managing to at least fill, Hincapié, who's a, very quality, aggressive defender who's good on the ball, composed, and can play, higher line. But with Norgard, if he was to be playing in that sixth position, I feel as if we would see a marked drop off in our ability to control games, both in and out possession, the ability to progress the ball. So when there's a potential opportunity to rest Zubimendi, I was really hoping he would take it, because he's pretty much played, very consistently through a very packed schedule, and we've got a packed schedule ahead of us. So I was hoping that this would be a time that he's able to get rotated out, but that didn't happen. Again, you just hope that he doesn't go down with injury. And I think the other thing, which you also mentioned, is sorry, Ethan. Yes, I've been on the side of the people who have been definitely frustrated at his lack of minutes, his lack of starts, especially in the period where Ødegaard is injured. And this is regardless of game state, because I think, yeah, I mean, this is a guy that was promoted via shirt number and technically, in terms of squad position from last season. You're expecting him to be able to fill a void in central midfield, and not to start spinning conspiracy theories and stuff, but I definitely think that there's something not quite right with how minimal involvement he's managed to get. Especially if you remember the first few games of the season when he came on, you were thinking that he would be first option off the bench in that advanced 8 role, but it just hasn't happened. So definitely, I think I was disappointed not to see him at least start. So those are the two main things. I think the only other comment I'd make about the starting lineup was our centre-back pairing. You mentioned Norgard. I assumed or expected that White and Hincapié would make our centre-back pairing, as opposed to putting in a makeshift centre-back. I know Norgard has played in a back 3 for Brentford, but again, playing a back 2 is different to a back 3. But again, that's not really a complaint as such. That's more of a surprise. But again, I think that's kind of linked to Zubimendi playing. I would have just gone with Norgard playing in the 6, giving Zubimendi the opportunity to rest, and then bring in Josh Nichols at right back, because again, of course, is a risk, but I'd rather in a fullback area as opposed to it being the central area. But it paid off. Can't complain too tough. But again, those were the 2 to 3 points of contention I saw with the lineup. The rest of it kind of was as expected. Rice didn't travel, Timber didn't play, Calafiori didn't start. So yeah, I think we got maximum rotation outside of those few positions.
Yeah, hard too much to disagree. And the game itself, I don't know if we need to. I think I want to focus a bit more on individual performances rather than the overall game, as I think those are probably some more interesting talking points. It was quite back and forth. They had some chances, we had some chances. I think naturally, when you tend to make so many changes, right, you risk good cohesion, and we've seen it sometimes when we've made a lot of changes. But I think there was enough quality on the pitch to ensure that, even though I think Raya was probably a bit more busy than I'd usually like, but he made the saves, and it started. We've been critical, to say the least, of Madueke's end product this season, but boy, what a way to score and open the scoring in this game. That is it's probably the best Arsenal goal this season, I think, for sure. I think it'll be hard to be topped. And I did not know that he had that in his locker. I mean, we talk about the inconsistencies of his end products, both in terms of shots and especially crossing, picking out a man in the final third. But boy, Khalil, 30 yards power driver like that. More of that, please, son. Can't argue with that.
Absolutely.
And let's talk about his performance on the whole, actually.
Yeah. So the thing with Madueke is, when we cast our minds back to the summer and the reaction of our potential signing of him, I was definitely in the camp of I'm not a fan of the signing, but I wasn't necessarily as low on him as everyone else was, because I still felt that he had the raw abilities. Well, my big concern is the fact that he's had these raw abilities and he hasn't been able at this point to put it together, because we see it when he gets the ball in most games. He has the ability to beat his fullback pretty consistently, but it's what he does after that that is the source of frustration. And I think, as a few people have pointed out, we paid a significant amount of money for him, and you'd expect there to be a level of end product and production, in addition to the initial, good movements. And I think for me, what I liked was, of course, it was an absolutely banging goal. It's a contender for goal of the season, but it's also the taking of responsibility. When Saka isn't in our front line, you're always looking to see who is actually going to be the person to step up and actually produce. And when the game first started, there was a few scenarios where he did get the ball, he did beat his fullback, but again, you're looking for the output, you're looking for a cross that meets an Arsenal player, or you're looking for a shot on target. And I think initially he did have like a few good opportunities that he created for himself, but again, just maybe not with the correct execution in terms of the crosses when he got to the byline. But again, he beat, when he got the ball for the goal, he beat his player, he drove, and it was a cracking finish. So, top marks. And then the second goal as well. This is how you get 3 goals. This is what, a certain other striker, who I'm sure we'll discuss later on, should be on. Like, Madueke follows up on the cross. He's free at the back post. That's how you get, an extra 4 or 5 goals added to your tally. So yeah, I'm very, very happy for him. To reiterate again, the raw attributes are there. It's about putting it together. And if we're being honest, if he was putting it together, he might be a Chelsea star. So again, that's when it sort of goes back to the concerns about the transfer. But if he is able to put it together, it's a great value add, because he's managed to be a game winner in a match that Saka wasn't playing in Saka's position. And this is kind of what the dream scenario was, when this transfer took place. So yeah, definitely deserve man of the match. Hopefully this is a start of a consistent run of GA, because this is what we need from, our forward players. And yeah, very, very happy for him. Kind of this is the kind of performance that maybe you think he starts in the weekend, but again, I'm not going to go too far, but I'm just very happy that he's managed to take the offensive responsibility and be able to execute. It's a big one for him.
Absolutely, and I guess that's 3 goals now, because obviously he added another in the same game. 3 goals for Arsenal, and they've all been in the Champions League, which I find interesting, obviously. So I'm gonna need that to transpire in the league, my guy, because what I saw against Aston Villa wasn't enough. So definitely gonna need to see more of the weekend. It'll be interesting to see if he did start, because he was the one that was withdrawn, not Martinelli. So let's wait and see. And it's a good segue onto Martinelli, because he himself scored a banger in this game. Obviously, it will get overshadowed because of Madueke, who was probably the standout. I've been quite critical of Martinelli in the past, of saying that I don't think he really has an ISO bag. He struggles to, what Madueke did for the first goal and what he did for the second goal. I think, considering he's played over 200 games, that should be more of a staple, right? What you expect from a winger, to be able to cook their man 1v1, especially as we play through our wingers a lot, and then to be able to get the shot off. So what were your thoughts overall? Because I think he did okay. It was a bit of a mixed bag, but obviously what you want from your attackers. And I saw a stat that he scored in 5 Champions League games for us this season already. So productivity, and we asked for output. So it'd be very hypocritical of me to, criticize output when he's given us that, even though I'm not always fully happy with his performances. What did you make of him today?
Yeah, so first half, I felt that the Brugge fullback really got the better of him. There were a number of opportunities where Martinelli had the chance to dribble past. He was quite isolated with him, but the defender was quite touch tight. Managed to get the better of him in those situations. Those are the situations that I've maintained that Martinelli struggles in anyway, so it's not necessarily a surprise. When he's taking up sort of more inside forward positions, I think that's where he excels, when he's sort of running onto the ball as opposed to having to dribble from a standing start. So that wasn't necessarily a surprise for me. It was good that he was getting those opportunities though, because again, when you juxtapose it with Madueke, that's Madueke's strength, being able to dribble from a standing start. So it was kind of in line with what I was expecting. And then, yeah, the goal, another great finish. You can't really complain too much after the struggles in his first half. And again, I'm one of those people who've always felt that Martinelli very much has striker elements to his game, but he just happens to be in a scenario where he's not played as centre forward. So being able to pick out a strike like that is not really a surprise to me. I know there have definitely been scenarios where he has been sort of dribbling with the ball towards goal, but not be able to get the shot off. But obviously, in that scenario, he was able to do that. So I think it was a mixed game. But again, as an attacking player, goals mask your performances in a way that you kind of give the grace to. You're there to make the telling contributions in the final third, and that's what he did, and that's really put the seal on the game. Because I'm pretty sure, a minute or two after that's when we got the first rotation of subs, in the game. So it was a very important very important goal, very important time. Essentially put the game to bed, and I'm happy for him. I think in our previous Champions League performances as well, I think he's been coming off the bench. I do remember that against Bayern. I can't remember if he was a sub. No, he wasn't a sub against Atletico. But yeah, that was a very good performance from him in the Atletico game. So yeah, I'm very happy that he's being able to contribute. Again, I've emphasized it. GNA, we need output from our rotation of attackers, because we definitely have that stage every season where all of our attackers seem to be off color at the same time, and it contributes to some frustrating results, such as Villa last week. So it's good to see, two wide players get back on the score sheet and impact the game in that manner. So yeah, happy for him, and mixed performance, but again, goal at crucial times. So top marks for him.
Yeah, I think essentially he's doing what you want a squad player to do, right? Even very much similar to Trossard, right? They're all being rotated in and out, and you've got to perform, otherwise you're going to be on the bench, right? And he's been mostly a bench player this season, Martinelli, although he's had, I think, more starts in the Champions League. So it's the balance has been there. So yeah, it was good for him, and we're going to need more of that, especially throughout the season, and especially because a certain Swedish number 9 that we bought in the summer is not pulling up trees. So we're going to need to have the conversation, because I've tried. I can't lie to you, I've tried. But
I picked the perfect time to go on holiday, man. But
yeah. But now you've come back, and now you got to face the heat. So you got to answer the question, because boy, this brother, it ain't looking good, my guy. It's not looking good. It's not looking good, especially right. So, Mr. Khalil, your guy, Mr. Victor Gyokeres, he sits here with 4 goals.
First of all,
goals. I'm not stopping. You're gonna let me finish. 6 goals in 19 for Arsenal in all comps.
Yeah, just under 1 and 2, but continue.
Hey, gosh. But I think it's not. I'm all jokes aside, I'm concerned. Like, I'm heavily concerned with what I'm seeing, with what I'm watching. It just doesn't look good, and obviously we knew when we saw in the summer, and I remember when we ran the tapes, right, when we did the Patreon in the summer, we were kind of like, the touch can be a bit janky at times. He can look a bit lackadaisical, clunky, but we thought maybe the power would translate, the movement would translate. But I think what's really worried me just in general with Gyokeres is that he's very rarely been able to create separation. He hasn't looked sharp. His movement has looked very mediocre overall. I think we made the point in the chat that I think if you're going to be a low touch, there's nothing wrong with being a low touch player. There are certain players that are low touch, but they still manage to make themselves efficient, and I look back to our last major signing at striker, which was Aubameyang, that was successful as a low touch striker on the whole. He got 92 goals in 163 games. Now, I remember at times we did moan about his lack of overall game, but there's no doubt in that Oba was good, and what he was very good at was sniffing out chances despite rarely being involved in games. And that's a real big criticism of Gyokeres, because I know some people say, are we creating enough for him, are we playing to him enough? But I'm looking, Madueke was getting off shots today, Martinelli was getting off shots today, Ethan was getting off shots, and he was barely on the pitch. Jesus came on, had more touches and more shots, and he was on the pitch for like 20 minutes. I know he's the BCM, but still, it kind of tells you kind of where we are. So I'm kind of like, I feel like if you're not going to make our football better, then you need to be able to contribute. Jesus,
Yeah.
whilst we all know and we kill him for his BCMs, like I know his USP. Do you know what I mean? And I know what he can do to help the team play better. So my kind of thing is, what are you bringing to the table right now? It's going to need to improve. Now, some would say, look, it's barely been 6 months. He just basically missed a month with a hamstring, I believe. So give him time. But my guy, you had time. Your time has run out because one striker has come back. Another striker is on his way back. Bro, my guy, you've utilized your lifeline. So you know the ones there where, bro, we're on life support. What's the one? Who wants to be a millionaire? Remember, you used to have the 50-50.
Phone a friend.
Used to have the phone a friend. What was the other one? I swear there was another one in it.
Yeah, I can't even remember now.
Remember,
But I hear it. I hear it, man.
Gyokeres, you've used up your lifelines and you're on life support now. So I'm gonna need to see Seun and Khalil. I think he will probably get the start against Wolves at the weekend. But boy, if you don't deliver then, he might put Jesus in, bro. Because Jesus came on and looked sharp. And he was obviously doing his funny BCM stuff. But boy, he looked sharp. He was moving, he was active. He was getting shit cracking. Because I think by the time he came on, like he had like 3 shots, even had 2 odd shots. Like we had loads of shots when Jesus came on, bro. So, and I get it. At that point, it's 3-0. The game's probably already done. So there is a bit more space on the pitch. But had you remained on the pitch, would you have gotten those chances? That's my question. So yeah, over to you.
I feel as if this is the exact game that my enemies would have been creating in a lab just to destroy my entire life and agenda. Because I cannot lie, when Jesus came on and started moving like he was, like the rage that consumed me, I was like, there's no way this guy's coming back and he's actually moving like this and embarrassing the guy that I put stocks in. First and foremost, I want to address the fact that you called him my guy. I would like to refer to the fact that we did a Patreon piece in which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 man from the TG group were on, and we all did the mass celebration in unison. You can go look up the clips. So fine, when you say it's you're down with me, all right? I'm on the stand, bringing all you down.
I recanted very early. You still held hope. That's why you got to hold your slaps. I gave up, bro. I can't defend what I'm seeing, bro. I can't. My eyes can't do it anymore, bro. I've tried. I'm tired of this guy wrestling and tussling with centre backs all the time. My guy, because Marino's getting stuff off, bro. He's getting stuff off.
Listen,
everyone is Gyokeres Nation.
Gyokeres Nation, we took a critical hit today. I don't know if we're going to recover. What I will say, in all seriousness, is what you said at the beginning, which was when we did the tapes, I fully acknowledge, and I've consistently acknowledged since day one, that the technical side of his game is very janky, it's very consistent. But where I thought he would have the impact that I was predicting was definitely I projected that he would be able to get physical separation. And that is the big concern for me. I want to say physical separation. People go on about the back to goal stuff, which again is very inconsistent. He should be doing better. But what I find is definitely that channel running. This is where I was expecting and projecting that it will be so clear that he'd be able to get separation from his defenders to be able to get shots off. And I think that's the concern, because when you look at the game today, he was very much just sort of sat in between the 2 centre backs and not really making his presence felt. And again, when I say presence felt, it's not just the back to goal, it's the actual running in behind to stretch the centre backs. And then when the ball is wide,
nobody was getting doubled up. By the way, nobody was getting doubled up in the team.
Yeah. You know, you're right. And when the ball went wide for it to be crossed in, it's very much on his heels. Like you saw either Marino be able to make contact with the ball, make the run to the ball, or it was Martinelli, or it was Madueke. You know, it was always someone but Gyokeres, and for me, that is a huge concern. The only potential mitigating factor I can give is the way he's sort of playing now. It very much resembles how he was at the beginning of the season. You know, I remember the games against United, the game against Liverpool, and some of us said that was a consequence of the fact that he didn't really have a preseason, blah blah blah, and then you felt as if his general level of performance was getting better. Past that little goal drought where you went 5 or 6 games. So you remember the game against Newcastle, obviously he scored against Atletico Madrid, he scored against Burnley, and he thought there's a slight rhythm because he was able to actually set play not at the very consistent level that you want, but he was setting play enough that you were able to construct attacks, and he was getting shots off. And he's obviously had this injury, and again, he's resembling how he first looked when he first started. So maybe, it's a case of he's still getting back in the rhythm of things. So he's a big guy and all that. But like you said, we're getting to the new year, and if you're not putting up GA, and I can see said this, if you're not putting up GA, in his case, you're not putting up G, it's problems, because this is what you came here to do. So
because he's not a good footballer, so that is legit your only USP. So if you can't do that, then my guy, I'm gonna go back to someone else. So
absolutely.
It's a case of just like I want you. Do you remember when we beat Atletico 4-0, right? And he scored 2, the 2 goals he scored. They were really messy. Like they were just messy. Like the sort of, and I think Anton was the first.
But I like those goals though, because you got to go sniff them. This is what I'm saying.
And Anton was the first one to make this point. I think after we beat Fulham 1-0, right, and Trossard scored a really scrappy goal, and Anton was like, "You need to be the one when the ball is dropping in the 6-yard box. You need to be the one reacting first." I think that's Leroy's point. You don't react first. You don't seem to be sharp to it. You should be beating defenders to stuff, and it never seems to materialize. Like obviously, I know Madueke scored the second, and it was like a far post run. Ideally, he would make that, but I think he made like a.
But this is what I was saying before about the goal, where like Madueke, he's in the position that in reality Gyokeres should be, in terms of Gyokeres is on his heels, Madueke is the one making the follow up. Like the ball needs to find you. You need to find the ball when he gets in the box, and too often he's just on his he's on his toes, isn't it? So
and I think it's too much, and I think you've hit the nail on the head there, right? It's you're waiting for it to find you too much. The best people make stuff happen. Do you think Harry Kane is mashing work because he's waiting for stuff to come to him? No, the guy is getting stuff cracking. Haaland is getting stuff cracking. Mbappe is getting stuff cracking. They're sharper, they're more efficient, and this is the thing. You're even more you're faster than Harry Kane, but guess what? Harry Kane still look right. It's upsetting, man. It's upsetting, bro.
I gave myself until January 1st to start. What do you call it?
Are you still holding on to January 1st? Yeah,
I'm holding on to January 1st because it means I don't have to say anything in the interim minute. Like you never know what can happen.
Bro.
Listen, he might bag a hat trick at the weekend, and then that'll feed me until February.
I was about to say, for me, he would need to get we've got a lot of games this month, and he's got a lot of games in the next 2 months to save himself. Like legit, I think. Realistically aside, I think he's got to mid-Jan to save himself. If he can't do that by then, he's in big trouble. Because when Havertz is fit and firing, my guy, you are you are. I hate it because it means I have to acknowledge German down. But bro, the guy has won.
Listen,
you do not deliver soon.
You know that clip when Gary Neville gets asked, "Who do you rather win the title, Liverpool or City?" And he says, it's like choosing which guy will nick your wife. This is how it's going to feel with me, where man are going to say, "Hey, Jesus or Havertz, which one would you prefer to take Gyokeres' chain?" I don't know who I'm going to go for, because on one hand, you got German Dan and his dickhead self, and you got Mr. Olo in the group pushing Sesko propaganda day and night, in response to Gyokeres thinking. So really, man, he's got to come with something, because it's not looking good. And the one thing I'm holding on to is the fact that he looked so sluggish at the beginning of the season, and then did get better, and then had his injury, So that's the only thing I can hold on to at this point, and which is why I'm giving myself until January. But boy, it's not looking good. But let's focus on the positives, man. Let's focus on the clean sheet. Let's deflect away from my stocks. The other thing I'll say is, I was watching YouTube yesterday. I was watching a documentary on Enron. It was a big scam in the early 2000s, and the company, chief execs and the shareholders, they were all basically, found guilty of just making up numbers from thin air, to boost stock value. And the lesson to learn from that, the lesson to learn from that is the chief exec sold all. So if Gyokeres does fully flop, just know I've sold my stocks before then. Don't come looking to me for an explanation. Just know I did what I had to do to save my own family, man. So
my guy,
that's what I've got to say on that.
When you've been on the front line, they're gonna come looking for you, bro. And I'm gonna point them in the right direction.
And I'm gonna be in Cancun, brother. So enjoy.
So I think those are the main 3 I wanted to talk about. I guess obviously now that 6 wins out of 6, we've got 2 games left. think the next game is away to Inter in Jan. And we have Kairat after that. So basically, if we beat Kairat, so we don't even have to beat Inter. We could lose to Inter and beat Kairat, and we're officially confirmed to finish first, which would serve us well in the knockout stages. I think a lot of people want because a lot of people had complaints last year about what's the benefit of like
the away leg. We didn't have that first. I want to say though, if we finish second, are we not guaranteed to finish? Are we not guaranteed to have home legs all the way through in the second leg or not?
No, I think it's the top two, but I'd have to double check. But I'm pretty sure it's the top two that have that leniency in it. So I think that's why Arsenal are in a quick rush to do this. But obviously it'll be interesting to see what we do around that Inter Milan game, because the January fixture list is going to look dark, and the reason it will look dark is obviously we have Crystal Palace in the League Cup in like 10 days time. So if we beat them, we will have a two-legged League Cup tie in semi-final in Jan. In addition, let me just read our Jan fixtures. 3rd of Jan, we're away to Bournemouth. 8th of Jan, we have Liverpool at home. 10th of Jan, we play Portsmouth away in the League Cup. 17th of Jan, we play Forest away. 20th of Jan,
FA Cup, not League Cup.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. What did I say? Portsmouth. Yeah, FA Cup, 3rd round away to Portsmouth. 17th of Jan away to Forest. 20th of Jan away to Inter. 25th of Jan at home to Man United. 28th of Jan at home to Kairat. 31st of Jan away to Leeds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are already 8 games in January without potentially adding the League Cup. So that's going to be a stack month, and we really need players available for that. So I think that would be my major concern. I feel like if we suffer any more, you might have to throw that Palace game. I can't lie to you, because I just don't know if we're able to. I don't know if we'd be able to manage without something suffering. As it is, like I said, we're already concerned about the minutes of certain players as well. And I think that I don't mind chucking those two, because the main aim is you want to compete on both fronts for Champions League and Prem. So if the other two have to suffer, I don't mind. Now we have this. If everyone's fit, we've got the squad to go all out. But I think if it's not, then you've got certain decisions to make. I think, because I don't want to be seeing certain players play when they really don't need to be playing. Do you know what I mean? If I'm seeing Saka rock up away to Portsmouth in the FA Cup, I'm vexed. So yeah. So we have some decisions to make. So we'll see. And even our backup are getting injured. I'm seeing Max Dalman playing under 21, and they said someone cracked him.
So came and took his ankles out, man.
I bet it was that butcher, Lisandro Martinelli. Someone, bro. So someone cooked him. I said, bro, even our 15-year-olds can't even catch a break. Can you imagine, bro? So it's crazy. But yeah, let's see. Obviously, that's in the distant future. Well, I said distant, but it's not too distant future. Obviously, we've got Wolves at home at the weekend, and everyone is packing Wolves left, right, and centre. They've only got 2 points all season, so I just don't want to hear any story. My guy, just collect your 3 points and go. Like, I don't want to hear any drama about Wolves at the weekend. I need the dub and keep it moving. Especially with City on our coattails, then they really look like they're kicking into some form now as well. So which is typical Pep. But yeah, we'll see how that drowns out. Do you want to? I can't, because I can't get onto the account. Can you bring up the listeners' questions and we'll?
Yeah.
You can go.
We'll do that. I just want to say, any and all questions relating to Gyokeres, you can refer to my stock answer I gave later. Earlier.
No, if there are Gyokeres questions, we've already done it, so we don't really need to dwell on it. So we can avoid those ones and we can do the other ones.
Cool. I will do one Gyokeres question because it does touch on something that we haven't discussed yet. So King Keshi 13. Evening, fellas, that 30 minutes from Jesus is the final straw with me with VG. Moving forward, do you think the club will realize the mistake and start making the necessary plans to pivot away from him, or will we persist past this season? The one thing I'll just go with this one about the whole, moving away from him next summer. I think one of the narratives that we heard this summer was it's like a project ender, and I never ever understood why people were saying that. It wasn't a record amount of money, nor was it amount of wages that will be impossible to shift. And I trust Berta to do what he needs to if we were in a situation.
The wages are quite high. It's 200 odd. So
yeah, 200. I feel as if we've seen players on higher be shifted. Like we've seen Højlund got shifted. I know he's slightly older, but I don't feel as if it's the end. It's like an anchor that's going to weigh us down for like 3-4 years is the point that I'm making. And I think from what we've seen of Gyokeres as well, I don't peg him to be the person who would sit there and not play. I feel as if he's a kind of player who wants to sort of demonstrate that he's able to score goals, whatever that is. Now, of course, this is projecting that it doesn't work out. You got till January to turn things around. But yeah, on this point, I don't see it to be like an insurmountable problem. Is the point I'm making on this? And then you've got the issue of Jesus and Havertz as well. You got to view our squad building not just on one person, but other people as well. So I do think there's space and the scope to sort of shift around if need be. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I think for me it's just a case of you can get stuff wrong. That happens. Like loads of people get transfers wrong, but I think where Arsenal have gone wrong in previous years is that they've flogged a dead horse. There's nothing wrong with failing, but just fail quick and just get rid in it. Do you know what I mean? So if he's not done well, can we shift him? Can we move him on? Like I remember when we did it with Willian. Obviously that was a free transfer, but we cancelled his contract after a season. Bro, sometimes you've just got to and I'm hoping, that probably on the continent there'd still be appetite for him. Maybe you could get an Atleti or someone interested. You know what I mean? So yeah, let's see. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with failing, but just fail quick and get something in. I think with the way it's panning out, we in the summer, Gabriel Jesus will have a year left on his deal.
Yeah.
Havertz would have completed 3 years and he will still have 2 years on his deal. So he's in that sweet spot of the renewal. So I think next summer we might have some very interesting decisions to make on our forward line. So it'll be interesting to see what we do. So I think it's a case of Berta will have a chance to potentially make money. And then obviously if we get that money, reinvest in the forward line. So let's see what happens there. Yeah, next one.
Yeah. Next one. From Francis Anyanemi. I think he's a regular listener, so try him out. Arteta is credited for developing attacking players at City. Surely he must have worked on Foden, who gives Arteta a lot of credit. Question: Why does it seem hard for Arteta to mold Waneri into a version of Foden, seeing as they both got similar features, or is there a deeper issue?
Yeah, I think it was who was it? I think it was Sterling and Sane who credited Arteta with a lot of work he did with them. So they were more wingery types. Obviously, I do see the comparisons with Foden, like a sort of shooting, attacking midfielder, someone who likes to shoot in and around the box. I'm not gonna. I think it might be too soon, and this is me who's complaining about his lack of minutes to draw conclusions like that. Now there might be something deeper, something we don't know, and unless it comes out, we're just not going to be privy to it. But this is a guy who signed a new 5-year deal in the summer when he didn't have to, and obviously he is still only 18, so maybe we have to temper that. And we need to remember when Foden was 18, he was sitting on the City bench. Foden's 24, 25, right? So he's he's in the prime of his career now. At 18, there was Bernardo, David Silva, Gundogan, KDB. So we're sitting on the City bench. So I think we need to temper that. However, I still think he can and should potentially play more. He's good enough to play more. And I think when Erdegaard was out, there was potential to use it more. Obviously, cool. He chose to use Eze at times and Marino, but I think he potentially could have found a bit more space for him. So it's not terminal yet, but I think this is probably just one to watch. I think it's one maybe we look back at the season and I might be like, okay, cool. Second half, he played a lot more. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not gonna say it's terminal yet. And the thing is, I don't even think it's a case of like Ethan's talent is very clear and obvious for everyone to see in and around the box. Like he always to me looks like he can score at any minute. And sometimes we speak about the lack of efficiency of our forwards. When I look at Ethan, I don't see inefficiency. I see someone who shifts and shoot very, very quickly out of his feet. I think obviously the nuances of his game is that Arteta asks a lot from a pressing and out of possession standpoint. So the nuances of that can be difficult. They can be difficult because I remember when Trossard first came, he struggled with it. So I think Eze is probably struggling with it a bit at the moment. He didn't even come on today, right? So it's probably something he's got to work on a bit more. But for me, how do you work on it if you don't play? Maybe. So I just think there's a few things around there but it's not terminal. If we don't have to, it's not an ender. But I am concerned about his lack of minutes. I'll be honest with you for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think in our situation, because we've had sort of injuries and whatnot, it kind of begs the question: if you're not going to take the risk now, when there's actual scope for him to impact the game, then when are you going to, sort of thing? And again, this is not terminal, but I think it's definitely something to be noticed that, even in a midweek game where there's mass rotations, the person you've designated essentially to be your backup 8 or 10, however you want to classify it, isn't starting the game. So yeah, I think he's good. I mean, he has been patient, but I just hope that there's nothing sort of nefarious behind the scenes as to why this is happening. And you've mentioned the big January slate coming up. So if he's fit, I'm expecting him to get either starter minutes or rotational minutes in order to, help us in that period of time. Next question. God, you might have onto Gyokeres tonight, man. Chill. All right.
Yeah, bro. It's
Kassan_San. Rank Gyokeres, Shamak, Lucas Perez, Lacazette, Bentner. Are these the conversations you are pulling from your heart, brother, at this point?
Yeah, bro. I don't want to have the conversation. I'll be real with you. It's just comparing ass and ass, bro. I'm just bare mid, bro. Like I don't care about all of them are rubbish, bro. Like they're just every single one you just named is just rubbish. So I don't care.
Yeah.
Comparison, bro. It is what it is, man. It is what it is.
The only thing I'd say on Lacazette is I feel as if his rep will be worse if Oba never came to the club. But
yeah. He was hanging off Oba's coattails a bit, and yeah, he had that
most
one season
definitely
with 19 goals, but other than that, his goal return was crap as well. So
yeah, the fact that he got a nice send off for Oba didn't, it still annoys me to this day. But anyway, next question, Morpheus Z. I never ever see Madueke out like that. What inspired this performance was Ruby Rose in the building. Is she making it out to Belgium? I feel as if that's outside the scope.
Yeah, bro. She does not know where Belgium is, bro. I'm gonna tell you that for free. She does not know where Belgium is, bro.
She's not getting on the Ryanair to Antwerp Airport now.
Yeah. No, bro. That Eurostar is left there, bro. I'm telling you, bro. I'm sure wherever she lives probably doesn't even fly to Brussels or anywhere near them sides, bro. So yeah. Listen. A couple of people have messaged me tonight. See Madueke. I'm like, listen, calm down, relax. Let me have some consistency first, bro. Let him do this for like a 10-game stretch, and then you can dunk on me. I'll be like, cool, bro. But where was this at the weekend, bro? Like you're trying to flex based on one game in which we made a lot of changes, which kind of tells you about the level of who we were playing. So calm down. Great for him, but I need to see it more.
Facts. All right, next question. Chris the Capo, after seeing that Gabriel Jesus performance, does the rumors of a Nottingham Forest or FC Corinthians low move sound more appealing? And that question, we've got another one, Boma Enoch. I know Twitter user AFC Lee had a tear running down his eye, smile on his face, and saying to himself, I told y'all N-words after that Gabby cameo. Yeah, I mean, like I was saying before, I don't know who's worse in terms of if I have to pick between Jesus and Havertz snatching Gyokeres' chain, because everyone knows me as the Bolivian hater for justified reasons, but I can't lie, that cameo did move me. I did like seeing him link up with our other forwards.
Move, drop of the shoulder. I said, yeah, Gyokeres, you have been starving me. I have been, bro. I have been foodless for 40 days and 40 nights, bro. Bro. I was, yeah. So listen, obviously I'm not they I don't think I think just basically the way this season is going, I don't think we should be letting anyone get in Chan because everyone seems to be falling down at any given minute. I think we have to wait till the summer to reevaluate anything. So everyone's going to be needed at some point. so yeah, no, we'll reevaluate in the summer. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. If he gives us one more, I'll be very thankful.
Bro,
people need to remember.
Listen, give me the title and you can float back to the sunset at Palmeiras and everyone's happy. We can shake hands and go our separate ways. That's all I need, my brother. Just 6 months, please.
Yeah, man. I mean,
run back that August to December in 22-23. You give me that, my bro. Everyone's happy come May. We're enjoying in that parade in May, bro. So yeah.
Of the darkest timeline where Jesus ends up with more GNA than Gyokeres at the end of the season, but let's not go down that route for now. And let's pray and
Bro,
hope for the best because
if
I
that
might be
happens,
cooked.
if that happens, you are done out here, bro. I am calling Rachel Reeves to terminate your passport, bro. Bro,
Yeah, it's not looking good.
yeah, it's peak.
I can't even lie, you know. I'm not even joking. Every single question is about Gyokeres. So quite literally, I'm scrolling through and there's nothing else to talk about at this stage.
That's
So we
fine,
might
bro.
even just wrap it up now, you know. I'm not even joking.
No, we might wrap it up now, guys. I know you're hungry, bro, but listen, I'm hungry too. So you man better tell that Swedish IKEA bodybuilder to feed us, bro, because we all starving, bro. We all starving. So listen, my guy, Gyokeres. Let me just talk to you for a minute, bro. We are playing Wolverhampton Wanderers on Saturday, 3 p.m., bro. My guy,
Show me who you are.
they have 2 points all season. This is as everybody eats. Just imagine it's Rio Aves or Brugge in Portugal, my guy, bro. You need to do something, bro. That in fact, yeah. If he can't score against Wolves, he's got to get sold, bro. I'm sorry. If he can't bang against United, bro. Everybody, bro. Did you see what Man United? Do you know how crap Man United are? Did you see what they were doing to them on Monday, bro? If we wanted to, we could put Sevilla. I don't really care because I just want to win. Like, give me a 2-3-0. I'm happy, whatever. But if we wanted to, we could do damage to these people if we were serious. But I know Arsenal. Arsenal will be in some charitable mood, bro. Or the keeper will decide that's where he turns into Oliver Kahn for the day, bro. So, but yeah, Gyokeres.
Listen,
bro.
Victor Gyokeres. Victor Gyokeres, don't make the fact that you broke up with your girl to make this move. Let's make that a worthwhile move. You know, man broke up allegedly his love life to come and join Arsenal. Make that a worthwhile move. Mm-hmm. I am struggling. I might be homeless come this weekend if you don't give me a GNA. My timeline is already, shifted in the direction of me needing to answer questions based off statements I made previously, and I really don't want to do that. So I'm begging you, man. Let's get a G. Let's get a GNA even. I'm really scraping for stuff. Let's get a GNA, and then we can progress that to multiple Gs, and we go from there. But it's not looking good. And on that note, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Listen, yeah, I'm tired, man. I'm tired, and it's late, and I've got work early in the morning. So yeah, we're gonna lock it off there. We will be back with a post-match after Wolves. Hopefully, we're celebrating. Hopefully, listen, Gyokeres can give you, man, something to feed on because y'all are starving, bro. You man are eating up the comments, bro. When I ask you normal questions, you man are not answering. But Gyokeres tonight, try. Yeah, you man are thirsty. Anyway, but cool, Khalil. Thank you very much for joining me, listeners. We'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.
Yo, when I spit bars in a rave, man, I go hard like Santan.